Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the World of Fusion Race number 4. We're out on the Yorkshire World for 3 laps of the Harrogate circuit. So it's going to be a long race today, 41 kilometers, and it's going to be very difficult racing because they're going to be hitting up the forward KOM climb 3 times as well as the Harlow Hill 3 times in all of the categories today. The racing has seen 3 races so far in the series. Last week we had some pretty furious racing out on New York. The results are pretty interesting actually, with Brian Hodges taking down the win last week with Alex West from Canyon ZCC coming in for 3rd place. Leandro Massanillo, for E Latino here, was out there last week. The Poison Dart Frog showing up and showing us that he's interested in taking down some points in the series as well. In the B category, Ned Bowen threw down for that sprint and that little bit of an uphill last-second kick and was able to take the win. Kenneth Larson, Michael Constantine, that is the results from last week. And in the C category, it was Christian McDonald. We had spoken about having a solid sprint to the line, followed up by Jamie Blythe and Michael Peterson. So that's the situation for the riders last week. We'll be taking a look at the series standings in just a moment. I am joined today by Zwift Community Live OG and co-commentator Jonathan Noblet. Johnny, so far the series has been pretty interesting as we jump into the racing right away here. Some of the top-end esports riders that we've seen, out on Zwift been really focusing here.
Yeah, definitely, Nathan. There's a lot of big, heavy hitters in the race here today. I see we've got Ollie Jones riding in there, Alex West, and I also see that Ed Laverick is also in there racing as well. So we've got some not just community riders, we've got some pretty big names in the UK racing scene as well. And this course is a bit different from previous ones as well, with just over 200 meters, 245 meters elevation of gain each lap, and they're straight away into this long drag. Going out to the Yorkshire countryside at the moment, Nathan. So, I'm not too sure how it's going to pan out, whether it'll stick together or whether there'll be some early breaks on the first lap.
Yeah, I have a feeling we may see a couple of early breaks. I mean, with 88 riders in here and the kind of gradients that they are going to be experiencing, the kind of intensity on them, I have a feeling that we should see. I would even go as far as saying that half the pack might start to disappear at a certain point here and whittle it down to maybe 40 riders. We'll have to wait and see, though, how much firepower is in and amongst them. As the race does go on, we'll be able to see how that story develops here to see who's shown up on the day. As far as the series standing so far, though, in this league, we can go ahead and jump on over to zwiftpower.com. If you haven't checked out zwiftpower.com, make sure to do so, as that is the place where the league is being followed along with, and you're able to see where the rankings are at, what kind of what kind of points the riders have been able to pull off so far in this series. Let's go ahead and jump real quick into the B category for just a second here. We will be covering the B, the C, and the D category today throughout toward the finish. I am looking here. Actually interesting to see Gavin Richardson hammering away in the B category here for innovation. So interesting, perhaps. Just coming back into Zwift racing, Gavin Richardson, one of the riders that we've seen in the real-life races in the past, earning spots there. Eric Schlang is jumping in here as well. Good to see him for the Zwift Insider as well as Dirt Team, having around here at 53rd place as they do head on over toward the first climb. It's actually this course, Johnny, if you're familiar with it, you've ridden it a couple times, I would assume, closer to home for you as well. But this steady gradient uphill here, very challenging from the get-go here, I think, for the riders. Just with the reality coming out of the pens and how fast, and furious these Zwift starts are, it doesn't look like it's really stringing things out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's, this ride, this course is only a few couple hundred miles away from me. And I've actually been lucky enough to ride this course in real life back in September at the World Championships. I wasn't competing in the World Championships, but no, I got to ride it, and yeah, it's very true to life. You head out here to Yorkshire Dales before swinging right, and then you head down quite a nice little descent, easy gradient, before you really hit that that bit of a climb. Up over the bridge, and that is where we start to see some kind of you get some breakaways going down the descent as people start to lose the wheels, and then we sometimes see the riders attacking over that hill. But then it doesn't end just there. There's actually another climb, which is the KOM, as you mentioned, which really starts to break people apart, and that's a big drag. And we do see some early breaks here, Nathan, with Ollie Jones kicking off at over 6 watts per kilogram, just getting a nice little break on at the centre and going into the super aero tuck to get a bit of a gap.
Yeah, right over the top here of the little bit of an uphill grading, 2-3% grading. I think putting a little pressure on. This is a section of the course where it does give the opportunity to really string things out. And I mean, look at the riders here. Martin Vang here from Team Callis, the new esports team, recently jumping into game here. There is the snap already taking place, and this before we even hit any of the serious climbs out here. The looks like maybe 10 riders off the back here at this point. It doesn't look like. If we move to the back here, Snagglepuss here riding for Cryogen. A little further back here, Ed Laverick that you were talking about there for the Wahoo Esports team, sitting toward the back end of the main pack here. But it does look like it will be a 6-second back gap. Now is going to be Burkholt here from Fusion Dev trying to jump back on terms with the riders here. But with that 4 seconds, Peterson even there just dropping off just a little bit too. So very early pack split here. Olsen here throwing in the towel saying, all right, I guess this is all said and done, as that downhill attack actually from Ollie Jones has put 3 riders off the back that are all very strong here. Jay Corner, Pedersen, Bergholt, the Fusion Dev team, Madsen as well, just hanging on as you can see here. It does look like we've got there as well, coming out of the Netherlands, riding for the vegan team there. So it does look like even Lionel Viasen here, one of the top riders in the series, looking to grab back onto a wheel here from his teammate's attack, actually. So Canyon ZCC, they've been showing up for all of the races so far in the Fusion, in this Fusion Racing League, and they have shown that they're not messing around. Each and every race, they seem to have some solid tactics, looking to try and make something happen throughout the series, Johnny.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, hopefully, the team have got some good communications going on as well, because the last thing we want is Ollie to attack off the front and drop one of his teammates, Lionel, although it does look like it's been pretty well calculated. And I think Lionel's probably going to sit in that bit of a draft at the back in the funnel, get sucked along, and then we might see him go up the road a bit later on in the race. Something that needs to be very careful about when trying to play this draft. And a lot of these A riders will be really experienced and kind of sitting in that, saving their watts. And we don't see in some of the smaller groups, we see quite a lot of rotations from the front to the back of the pack as people kind of struggle to kind of get used to the draft. They can't quite sit in the wheel. But in these more experienced A groups, the riders, they kind of know where they want to sit, and they kind of maintain that location, as you would see in a lot of pro racing, where you have kind of the road captain sitting at the front, pulling everyone along, where some of their team leaders might be in the back, kind of saving themselves for an attack later on in the race.
We've seen that time and again, actually, with Fusion. Last couple of weeks, it was Alex West who was chilling in the back a whole lot here. Lionel Viasen, though, interesting to see. Look at this gap opening up here as they head downhill. He is struggling at this point to hang on, and this is the steepest point on course here. The speed's getting incredibly high here. We're seeing 94 kilometers per hour for a moment there. Needs to get back on terms immediately, because there is a split taking place here toward the front end of this pack. I believe it is going to be Kalman as well as Oftedal here from Callis. Some of the strongest riders from, I believe it's Fusion, that's really driving the pace here toward the front. Looking, Ollie Jones here covering the moves. Callis is up toward the front here. Lampier there also for the Wahoo Esports team now. But Jep Tobel here, Fusion ECT, they see that their main threat, Canyon, is on the back foot. One of their strongest riders that is going to be Lionel Viasen at the back of this pack here. And if you can drop one Canyon ZCC rider, one rider from some of these main teams that are out here looking to take the win here, you've definitely upped your chances to throw your riders across the line first.
No, definitely. And these riders want to shed away that pack. Every time they go up with an incline, they want to kind of shed away some of the riders at the back and get that group smaller and smaller. And this is, pretty impressive. I think there's probably looks to be about between 30 and 40 riders in this front pack at the moment, and from quite a sturdy A group at the start of the race. This is going to keep happening on every single climb they've got, and in total they're going to have 3 climbs every lap, so that's going to be 9 climbs. Some good mathematics there. That's going to happen every lap. We do see Jay Pallard from France going up over the top on this corner where Scottish Squirrel's hanging out again.
Yeah, Pallard here, he's been extremely aggressive each one of these races as well, and seeing the main attack there coming from Fusion on that uphill grind after that split that happened on the downhill. Now he is taking advantage of a counter, it looks like here. And with the 3-second gap, this is a little bit of a threat. You can see, we can see what the gap is starting to open up here, about 4 seconds. Bergen there a little ways back from Norway, hanging on toward the front, but it's going to be Callis that's taking on. Brett Boniface riding unattached here, making his way to the front as well. Now we do see Canyon with Arlie Jones looking to just cover things and not maybe drive the pace, as it does look like Lionel's still sitting on the back there. Now this is a dangerous spot. We've seen over and over again these riders caught out with these high speeds on these downhill sections. The rider on the back here right behind Lionel here that needs to up to some orange numbers here quickly. He is going into 7.3, but the pack's starting to just roll away from him, and we can see again and again the downhills at this point where people think they're grabbing the draft, not actually doing so. Getting into that aero tuck here, not helping them out too much here, though, as it goes out to 4 seconds, 5 seconds now. Alex West, we did say earlier, able to sit on and rest up here, most likely waiting for some of the climbs later in the race for those serious attacks. Now we're going to be heading, it looks like, into the KOM. Here's the left-hand turn, and right into 9% uphill gradient here. The attacks are going to be coming on again, and it does look like it is now Canyon ZCC on the attack. It is Ollie Jones, I believe, or is it Lionel that's made his way back to the front?
Pushed it up then, but he's just dropped right past as Kate Offendale from Team Callis is going to lead off the front there. And on the other right, he's got Vang, who's just a few wheels back as well. So maybe trying to force another break, as he sensed a bit of distress in Canyon's ECC. But it looks like it's all going to come back together. But this climb's still got quite a way to go, Nathan. Do you think we'll shut it down a bit further?
It may. I mean, the beginning of this race has been way harder than usual. And I think the reason being is that this course has offered a lot more for the riders to work with. Last week being out on the New York course, there was some little undulations here and there, but mainly a flatter course. Every lap over on the first week, I believe it was, we were out on Watopia for the reverse KOM. Every lap, you're just waiting for the reverse KOM. This course, very different. You've got about 3 climbs throughout, 3 main climbs, I would say, plus little undulations, little kickers here and there. And then you've got the 2 main ones that are a little bit longer, right around that 2 to 3 minute mark. So, I mean, this is definitely a course that offers a lot of opportunity. I think that's why it's been so incredibly fast right from the get-go. If you can whittle it down, you're going to need to do so over and over again over 1 hour, though, because it's going to be about a 1 hour race or so, and you've only got so many opportunities. I think that they're noticing that there's such a high level of racers here. There's so much energy in the tank for them that they need to take every opportunity to break the rest of the racers with those workhorses on the front, make it extremely hard for the rest of the teams, see who comes out for the cream of the crop at the top here. And that's exactly what's happening here. Is we do have Jay Hodges, always one that's willing to make an attack here, 7.5 at the front here. Looks like he's going to take the KOM unless we've got something at the last second here. Morton Vang with a little bit of kick, 8.2 watts per kilogram, I think, but I think it's going to maybe be Hodges, and Hodges just nips at the line for the KOM over the top. We'll have to see if that actually ends up being the actual fastest time. Looks like Pollard ended up with the fastest time with the way that he started the climb, but Hodges taking it across the line there, the first one across. So that's the current 2:03. Pretty fast numbers there. I don't know if there was all-out attacks. It was like, I think for them it was sticking it at VO2 and then seeing who can hang on rather than full-on committed.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, it'll be interesting to see whether these times get faster as they go along in second and third lap, because it's Lionel Vuderson who's actually had a 1:51 up this course. Based on results on Zwiftpower.com, he has had the 3rd fastest time out there on course, and another rider in this race is Morten Vang. He has had a 1:54, so it definitely can drop off another kind of 15 seconds off how they've been going so far. So maybe saving something in the tank for later, because it is, a long course, so only 6.2 kilometers in with a 41 kilometer total. So it's still got a good 35 kilometers to race as they head down towards this loop, this little secondary loop on the course here, which again, it's a bit unforgiving, this course, Nathan. It's constantly up and down. It doesn't really give you a chance to have a break at all, because as soon as you go down the descent, you're straight up into another climb.
Yeah, and you can see it as they get into another little 6% gradient. Vyasa was off the back there, resting up, and boom, straight to the front. 9.5 watts per kilogram here, and these are those kicks immediately after the KOM. This looks like a planned situation here, knowing that the rest of the riders are going to be looking for those heart rates to come down, perhaps seeing who's got the response still, who was actually able to recover, who's done their base work, who's actually been riding lots of hours, able to have tons of energy and a very quick recovery after those attacks. There's reality in cycling that a lot of times there's people who can go 1 time, 3 times, maybe 4 times at a very high wattage, a very high kick, but the reality of being able to do this immediately right after an attack and being able to do it again and again and again, that's what a lot of times wins the races. That's what that base work a lot of times is about. And I know Vyasa here definitely has that kind of ability and that kind of energy reserves here as he gives a fairly serious attack. He's seeing how much time he can get here. Looks like Morton Vane, he's going to be the man from Calais here that's going to be putting down the work, though, to cover those moves coming in from the Canyon ZCC. So far, it's been Calais, Fusion ECT, and Canyon ZCC that we've been watching out for here. They've been the main riders so far to really animate the race, and I think those are going to be the teams we need to be watching out for, perhaps taking the win out here today. But never discount BRT. They've been out here week after week, and definitely with their man Nigel Clark. You know, a couple of the wild cards have been thrown in recently into the mix are going to be Lampier here. Well, Lampier off the back here, but looks like unable to hang on any longer here. But it's going to be his teammate that he was working for, Ed Laverick, that's sitting in and amongst the pack a little ways forward from here. So, or in amongst the main pack. There's Laverick here. We are seeing there with the Wales flag there next to his name. 1.6 watts per kilogram sitting in. So watch out for Wahoo Esports team here. You know, with some in real life results that can definitely match any of these guys. I think I'd be watching out for Laverick on that final climb. We're have to wait and see, though. I think Laverick also is maybe one to go, though, for a solo TT or get into a breakaway. We'll see if he can make something happen. It's going to be most likely, my prediction is a small pack of riders making their way to that final climb through that UCI banner, most likely, because this course is so incredibly difficult. A lot of times we do end up with a pack sprint, but I think today this course is so difficult that those who can attack will.
No, definitely. And we see this attack from Lionel Fudersen. He's 4 seconds out from the chasing packet. Went up to 5 seconds tops a few moments ago, and it's coming down to 3 seconds now. And I'm just wondering, what do you think is the tactic here? Do you think, I don't think he's clearly going for the win. Do you think he's kind of trying to get the other teams to put in the work, get their, the other teams, Fusion, Calais, to all kind of put in the work, get their legs tired, and then maybe someone else like West or Jones might put in an early attack, because we do see some quite good team tactics in the racing here. He's getting stuck back in that group. Only moments, I think, until we maybe see someone else go off the front.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there, actually. Seeing that Alex West as well as Ollie Jones sitting in the main pack here, not really doing much work. I believe that is exactly what they're after here. And Vyasa, he's been the risk taker throughout the series so far. We've seen it over and over again. He's definitely not been wanting to sit in. Every race so far, he has been animating things, while West and Jones have mainly been sitting in, especially Alex West. And I believe West may still be the current series leader. I'm having a little trouble bringing up the current league results, actually, over on zippower.com. I believe they may be getting updated, or an updated page for them. So if we do have the man himself who is racing at this moment, maybe we can get an update from the likes of the KRT rider out on course here that has helped out with so much of this. James Hodges, the man himself here, 150, 159. Let's see if he can type at 159 beats per minute here. But Laverick here, 3.9. Vang there from Calais looking to close things down. They're about to come on through the lap finish banner, and with a 1 second gap being shut down by Pallard here now. And as they do so, I believe we are going to be having right around more Mads Bang Anderson here sitting in, I believe that's going to be about 20th place or so. So we've come on through with accordingtopower.com for the live results. it looks like we've got about 27 riders that have made it on through. In order to hang on with this main pack so far, though, this is some pretty intense numbers. I'm looking at a lot of these riders are well over 5 watts per kilogram. Jerome
Yeah.
Pallard here, 5.9 watts per kilogram. We're seeing a solid 5.1 from Oyvind Jerktest there, as well as a 5.0 from Arbant. I mean, this is Morten Vang 5.4. These riders have, this has been everything on the course, everything been laying down to make this lead. This first lap, I think things are going to calm down actually here in just a moment, because I don't think they can do this kind of wattage for much longer.
No, I don't think so at all. And, I think they're going to have to calm down definitely, because looking at the results coming through provisionally, all in the top, kind of the top 20, 25 riders have all basically gone faster than the current record of the course on Zwift Power. So currently the fastest record is 17 minutes 34. And a lot of the top 20 are all below 17 minutes 33, with the fast Jay Pallard from Team France at 17 minutes 29.5. So they've definitely went down. They put the hammer down that first lap. I don't go for beating that again this time. You never know what they might still have in the tank.
Absolutely amazing. Crazy efforts being put down here. Setting records now out on the UCI course. Obviously, we've got some of the best out here for this Fusion ECT. It's attracted all of those that are looking to make something out of this Zwift esports, that's for sure here. Simon Russell jumping on in here saying, letting us know, and it's a great reminder actually, that he's letting us know that Ed Laverick is UK National Hill Climb champ. And I think that is definitely a some background knowledge that we need for this course specifically. We haven't seen him make too many attacks so far, but I think with that kind of power on the hill climbs, we may be seeing a late attack from him, especially on that KOM. That's about the halfway point, little over halfway point on the course. And if he does get away and puts enough distance between himself and the other riders, he could be able to TT away. Now, there's also an uphill grind to the finish too as well, so that's also something to be watching out for. Great little question coming on through here from Khaled07 over on Twitch saying, are Zwift Community Test Labs going to continue and when? So Khaled, thanks a lot. There's a lot going on in the background on things that are along those lines. Watch out for events to be announced. That's about as much as we can share on that, but definitely keep your eyes open for something similar coming down the line. Lots of planning, lots of events coming here. We just want to make sure that they're all long-term, if that makes sense. Long-term, longer-term efforts there for sure. So thanks a lot for the question, though, and keep eyes on ZCL's Facebook as well as the streams, and you'll get more information. Does look like we have an attack here coming through from Jelsthorpe here. Velo 1 Cycling RT. This is a rider that not super familiar with. He's got a 1 second gap amongst some of the fastest that we know of out on Zwift here, riding for Velo 1. We did see him, I believe it was last week, also making a little bit of animation up toward the front. So a newer rider here, it looks like, really wanting to jump into these higher end races and show what he's got. 177 beats per minute here, 329 watts as we are getting into this second lap here. Probably shuts it on down here, as you can see. Bergen here, 4.2 watts per kilogram, just hanging on toward the front. Not too concerned, it looks like, whether or not this is going to go anywhere. Now, this next section, of course, though, Johnny, this is where the break happened last week, and as you see Patler come over the top, it looks like he learned something from Jones last lap and is looking to split things apart. This is super high speeds, and riders need to watch out.
No, definitely. These riders, going to watch what other teams are doing. See who's pulling at the front, see at the back, and it's quite interesting on the ascent. Seems that we see a lot of breaks happening, but this group's just going to get smaller and smaller. It looks like we're down to about 25 riders at the front at the moment. So it definitely dropped off a lot, maybe even less than that, as it could, is left in that from the A group. And it's interesting to see, if you look at the bike choices we've got, a lot of the riders on the Tron bike, the Zwift Z1 concept bike, which is known for being one of the best bikes on climbing, and they unlock when you do the Everest challenge. So definitely, there's a lot. It's kind of proves that it's a very much a climber's course. So hopefully, these riders here will kind of keep it up. I think, going down this descent, we're going to turn right. I think, this group will drop down to maybe about 15 riders on the next climb, because the legs are going to be getting tired so far.
Yeah, looking at the next climb coming at them here, if you do check out, it is going to be the forward climb KO. Well, they will have the intense downhill in just a moment here, though, and then head on into the steady climb through. What do we call those fields with all the sheep? You want to help me out here? Is there a special name with big, huge fields in the UK that have lots of sheep in them?
Sheepy fields. I think
Sheepy
that's the
fields.
technical
There we go.
term for them.
That's going to be the
Yeah,
new Swift term. The sheepy fields. We'll
the
be
new
heading
sheepy
into
fields.
the
Yeah,
pasture.
we need to get
As we head through the
we need to get
pasture.
a sign put up with the sheepy fields and the farmer who looks after the sheep.
Oh, loving it. Well, and we do. Where's the? We need a farmer like the banjo player. Where's Banjo Man for the sheepy fields here? But out in the pastures, we might be putting some of the riders out the pasture through that section. That super high speed downhill. We were at almost 100 kilometers per hour at one point. We saw even the likes of Lionel Austin on the back foot through that section. So. That's the next section, of course, we'll be looking at. We're going to be looking through about the 20-kilometer point in the race, and then immediately after that, they'll be going downhill a left-hand turn back into that forward KOM, and I think that's where the real fireworks are going to go off. But I do not believe these riders are going to be holding hands through this next section. I think it is going to string out at least a little bit. And Viasen, again, see, as we talked about this, he is the one making the other teams work. He's going for it here, and and this is a great tactic from Canyons ECC. As they head on through the sheepy fields, you can see the sheep in the background there, getting a great view of the absolute mayhem going on here from Canyons ECC. And this is a great tactic, though. They are looking to make the other riders respond. If they do not, he just walks away with the race, or they get tired trying to chase him down while the rest of Canyons ECC sits in. And it looks like the other teams could employ something similar, but they're just not as organized. I think that's the reality of it, is that Canyons ECC has come with a plan, and that's why tactics in Zwift racing matter.
Yeah, definitely. No, and Canyons ECC, although a relatively new team, I think they are just about a year old now. They kind of formed from a lot of previous teams, with also basically having Ollie Jones, who used to be a rider for Team Dimension Data, got that through the first year from the Zwift Academy, and then also Alex West, who was up there with him in the finals for the Zwift Academy to get that pro contract in the pro Conti team. And this team, a lot of experienced race riders in there. They'll all be on communications using Discord or possibly something else. And we just need to kind of figure out. It's like, is Lionel kind of a sacrifice? Is he like the sacrificial lamb in the sheepy fields that's going to kind of keep going off the front and tying everyone out? And then is it going to be Ollie or Alex who's going to kind of actually go off and trying to take the win?
Yeah, I think we may see an attack, knowing that the abilities of these riders here, each one of them being a little bit different. I do know Ollie Jones, I think, a little bit more of a ruler, a little bit more of a pure time trialist, whereas we saw Alex West taking an amazing result in the Zwift Academy climb up to the top of the Alpe d'Huez last year. So I think that Alex West perhaps being a little bit more of the climber, a little bit more maybe of the kick to the line, though, as well. We've seen him have some amazing results in the kick to the line in these series specifically. So, they've kind of got this three-prong abilities here from what I see personally. Lionel has these quick little kick attacks. He's a mountain biker. He's a cyclocross racer. He can really kick off the front. Ollie, I think, really has that ruler time trialist. We may see him just try and roll off the front at about this midpoint or even into the last lap here. And Alex, I think, going to be sitting in. Now, this is just I've got this whole Canyons ECC team tactic, but these riders, who they are, and I think that, each one of the teams have riders like that, though, as well. I mean, the reality of Morten Vang here. Callis, though, Morten Vang, Callis, Dirkset, these riders here from Callis that we have out here, I think a little bit more of the climbing types. They do have some kicks to the line, but I think that they're going to really have to take advantages where they shine, because I'm not sure they have quite as much of that rounded out team abilities between them here. So it'll be interesting to see if they do employ something very specifically on the climbs coming up. Now, Mike Davis here, Team Experimental, riding solo here for the team, off the front just a little bit. Now, this is a definite sprinter here, maybe just looking to make sure he doesn't fall off back on this downhill section. Kalman here, though, for Fusion, the one of the strongest, Alexis Kalman, amazing rider for Fusion. Watch out for him as well. I know we've been really chatting a lot about Canyons ECC, mainly because they've been the most animated team out here. But there's some of these riders that are just playing the smart race, not looking for the camera time, looking for the podium time at the end of the race. I think is what's going on here for some of them, and I think that's going to be what's going on with the likes of Fusion ECT. As Kalman has shown time and again why he's been at the top of these series over and over again. Now to the front now, ECR here making the way to the front with Nim. It's going to be Vyasen there too as well, but we've got orange numbers here. We were just talking about Kalman. He was taking over at the front for a moment. Vang, though, from Callis, we were saying that they're going to have to do something on the climbs here as they head into this KOM here. Far up, though, also from the Vikings team. We've been fairly quiet about them. They're going to be in that blue and black kit for Amgen Tour of California. Brett Boniface riding unattached here, making his way to the front as well. One of the strongest riders we've known out on Zwift here. Clark there from BRT, riding solo here today. Now taking over second place, holding on to the wheel of Boniface as we look forward toward the KOM banner. It's just over this crest here, 7% gradient now, 7 watts per kilogram steady at the front. Will we have a faster time over the top here for these leaderboards on the KOM? We're looking at a 2:03 for this climb, and at 7.5 steady here coming from Boniface. Starting to get a little bit of gap between him and Clark here. Bang there as well. Soren Bay now from Fusion ECT toward the front end. Falling off the back maybe just a little bit. It's going to be M. Nim trying to hang on. Juzinski from Team Poland, strong rider here. Is he biding his time or is he falling off? That's going to be the question. And at the front, though, it's still Boniface gapping himself from the rest of the riders here. We've got a rider in orange there. Just Pollard now making his way across, looking to take maybe even a faster time. It was 2:03 last time over the top. Vang here, 6.2 watts per kilogram. Laverick now, I think Ed Laverick here is not giving I think he's sitting in a little bit. I think there's suffering. There's definitely some suffering going on, but the riders here, I think, biding their time, knowing that this climb most likely is not going to be one that's going to be deciding things. Not seeing any of the favorites really hit out at the front. Allowing Boniface maybe just to take the fastest time, but not really interested in making anything of it. Actually, Vyasen here kicking at 8, but not going too hard over the top here, it looks like, as it's going to be Boniface getting the time across, well, not the time, but the first across the line. The time we'll have to wait and see what it is, if it's any faster. It does look they've calmed right on down. So I think they're knowing that this is not the deciding factor. The 2:06 we're seeing over the top here. Definitely not something that's going to break things apart. Everybody kind of holding hands, seeing if they can whittle anybody off the back. I think Nim was dropped off. We're seeing, so it is far up as well here as we're looking at the Vikings team. Going to get together with Big E there from Team Draft. Good to see Big E hanging out, but it's not going to be happening for him. Jerktis Callis with 2 riders off the back here. So the work was done, but it wasn't anything where any of the teams really got a gap. It was just make it fast at the front and see who can hang on here, Johnny.
Yeah, no, it's most of the teams stuck together. We dropped a few riders from like lone teams off the back. There's a rider from Vikings there. Team Poland managed to catch up as well. So, it looks like it's gone down to about 12 riders in this group here. Still, Canyons ECC, you can't, hold it against them. They're holding so well in that group. And I think your predictions are right. I think they might be setting up Alex West for the win. We've seen them do it before, the Zwift Classics, Torfolo Bologna, where Alex West took an amazing break to take the win with about 800 meters to go. And you just see, if you just watch this, see that, Lionel goes off the front, and then and basically Alex sits in the middle, Ollie sits at the back, and then they kind of swap around, and Lionel sits at the back, gets some recovery in the draft. Alex sits at the front, kind of almost sets the pace, and always right in the middle of that race is Alex West wearing his aero helmet. So there must be some advantage there to kind of help him maybe on the climbs, on the descents, because these guys don't choose these equipments just for aesthetics. There's usually a very strong reason why they want to wear certain elements of kit in the race.
He actually does wear, it's interesting, he wears that aero helmet every single race. I'm not sure what that's all about here. Lursfin's been wearing it here as well, so interesting to see what the riders do hold on to. Now, we are seeing for Team France here, there is a DQ in the race, so Jerome Pollard maybe not set up his background information yet, maybe not going, there's a lot of stringency on the organizers' Fusion, and this is why this is one of the most popular races at the high end of Zwift racing. right now is because the organizers are so stringent about the race and how you can qualify to be a part of the results. A lot of times, one of the main things we do see in a lot of the comments in the social media, a lot of comments on the forums is, whether or not people can be verified. And this is a series that has done everything they possibly can, as well as the riders that are a part of this series. It's amazing to see how they've come together in certain forums in order to try and make the racing as verified as possible. I try and stay away from the word clean specifically because some of these riders are jumping into here with equipment that they can use in the game and that are unsure. They do not know, and they haven't done the verifications themselves. The reality of not knowing what your power can and can't be until you jump on a piece of equipment and you start throwing out these power and like, oh, cool, I'm Superman, or I don't know what Superman even is. What I don't even know what these power numbers might mean. And next thing you know, at the front of a Zwift race. So make sure to always be heading on over to ZwiftPower.com. Big shout out to Fusion ECT and all of the work that they've done to attract some of the highest level of racing, as well as the confidence that these riders have to show up, put the work in, and get the results in these broadcasts because of that work that's been done. So we'll be watching out for that as the race develops, as we get into the results here. But it's going to be Alexi Kalman here, 4.8 watts per kilogram so far, taking over at the front, and then it is, like you said, though, I was looking at ZwiftPower.com and saw that the DQ for a second here, but that was because I was looking at watts per kilogram, and Alex West has put out 4.3 watts per kilogram. Mike Davis, also a well-known sprinter, 4.2 watts per kilogram. We're seeing 4.3 from the only riders that have around that are riders that have been dropped off, besides those two in this pack. So they've been resting up. The numbers don't lie here, and I think the reality is like you said, West is waiting for that sprint. And I think that has been the tactic from Canyon ZCC each race that he's been in so far, Johnny.
Yeah, no, he sits there, tries to kind of hide away. It's hard for a rider with, such kind of accolades to him from Zwift racing to kind of sit there in the pack and, hide away. But, someone that everyone needs to watch and someone that will, he's going to go for the sprint, Nathan. It's without a doubt. And it suits him because it's got that climb as well. Over, 500-meter climb, you turn right past the Zwift draft house. And then you kind of climb right up to the line, a bit of a false flat at the top. It's perfect for someone like Alex West. And I think, we see here again, we see Powell go off the front. It's a shame that he's got DQ'd. One thing we need to kind of, bear in mind is that, like you said, he may not be aware that, something's not right. He might not be set up right. But, these community organizers of these community races, they make the calls on how they treat them using tools like, third-party tools like Zwift Power to kind of help try and make the races enjoyable for everyone. So that's, what we'll see here. He may not be aware of it, but surely later on when he checks his profile, he'll be aware of the results. He'll put it actions to help, make it better as well. But, basically, top marks for Fusion to kind of really trying to promote, an exciting race format that, a lot of the top, experienced riders that Zwift can really enjoy.
Now, looking here over at YouTube now, I am seeing a little bit of, we're seeing cycling top professionals actually jumping into the comments here. Good to see Greg Henderson actually used to be doing the workout Wednesdays. Maybe we'll have that coming back in the future here. But Greg Henderson saying, good morning, gentlemen. And it sounds like they are getting ready to do the Power Up podcast. So if you haven't checked out the Power Up podcast, something that Greg Henderson does with a couple of other personalities in the Zwift world, actually says that the Kiwi boys are up early racing. So he knows all of these young next generation of Zwift racing and in real life racing here with Ollie Jones and the rest of the Kiwi boys who are on the attack here on the front again, heading into the last lap. And we said that this might be happening. I think Greg's going to be smiling a little bit as he watches this go off the front here with Ollie Jones. He knows what he is able to do. And at 177 beats per minute, rolling off the front. We said to watch out for this, and Laverick with the response here. Laverick knows what to watch out for, and these are two riders that can make this happen here. More number seeing Mads Bang Anderson as well as Fusion and the rest of the riders here, a little bit distracted, trying to get the flags to go there to maybe pull a DQ'd rider, but it's going to be Ollie Jones and Ed Laverick off the front here. 2 seconds. Paller trying to follow it up here. It looks like Jelsthorpe now, sitting at 5 point, not sitting in, now taking over at 5.9 watts per per kilogram, 6 watts per kilogram, knowing that they have to chase this down. Two of the strongest riders in the race have just gone off the front, going into the last lap. It is, like you said, about a 17-minute, everything you've got on the line here. Can they close it down? And the reality is that the rest of the riders here, it's only going to be Fusion, Callis, and Vikings. Maybe a little help from the single riders there for BRT, as well as Team Experimental with Nigel Clark, Mike Davis. They might put a little work in there as well, but we've got two riders here off the front and one of the strongest team that's just going to sit in. And one of the riders that's solo in the race here is trying to close it down, putting in the work, being sacrificed for everybody else, while the Vikings, Callis, BRT, the rest of these, even Fusion ECT, getting the advantage here from this rider who says, look, I don't care who's on what team. I'm going to shut this down because I want to take the win now. As Gelsthorpe here just takes over, 8 watts per kilogram, shuts it down on this 4% uphill gradient. Things are going to be difficult at this point, though, after those efforts, because I think everybody's going to be looking for some sort of reprieve. They're going to be looking for some rest here at this point, and this is an opportune moment for anybody who's got something left in the tank. Gelsthorpe says, I'm the one who's got something left in the tank. I'm going to close this down and go right over the top of everybody. Everybody thinks as soon as that gap is shut down that they're going to look at each other and look for that rest, that lowering of the heart rates, but no. He just says, I'm going to continue on. This is my all-in ticket. 182 beats permitted here. It looks like the rest of the riders, though, are comfortable with just sitting at 5 watts, 6 watts per kilogram. Well, not comfortable, but they don't want to do much more than that, I don't think. I think everybody is really put at their limit after those attacks that are coming from Laverick as well as Ollie Jones. Ollie, I think that was his his little bit of show at the front to see if he could get away, but it was shut down pretty quickly here. We've really whittled it down now at this point, though, Johnny, to the main group of riders, the real cream of the crop here. The strongest riders have shown who they are on one of the hardest courses we have on Zwift.
No, definitely. It's a good sharing of different riding teams. We've got BRT, Fusion, we've got we've got Denmark Nationals with Champions jerseys, ECC. We've got Wahoo Team Experimental, Fusion ECT as well. So, we've got a few riders from every different group. See Ed Laverick again popping off the front, showing that reason why he has got that National Champions Hill Climbers title from this year.
Yeah, here, 7 watts per kilogram again here. And I think this is the tactic we saw from Jones on the first lap. He's looking to employ that same thing over the top here of this climb. Boniface at the front, 2.9 watts per kilogram. As they slow down and Laverick takes this wattage over the top here, this is going to be a lot of speed. And as anybody knows, just like in real life racing, you take some speed to the very top at the crest, you will carry much more onto the downhill. And that is what's going on here with Laverick here. 2.9 watts per kilogram, backing off just a little bit. He's got a 5-second gap. Vyazin here now, 0 watts per kilogram. Looking to allow maybe the pack to come through and assist him, but it's not happening here. It's the Aerotalk here now, but Laverick here at 1.3, holding on to 4 seconds. Pallard coming along with now, it looks like. And Vyazin, the gap is going to get shut down as the pack rolls along at those high speeds as it usually does. Laverick here now kicking 7 watts per kilogram as they go uphill again. Now, this is a tough spot for Laverick because that pack rolled through at a very high pace, and now he's on the back foot, 9 watts per kilogram. Because of that attack, it's always a risk to go on the attack on the downhill, because the reality is when you hit the flat, the rest of the pack is going to come through with some crazy speeds as they gain more speed from each one of the avatars on the downhill. It's an interesting dynamic. If you've ever raced in real life, you've ridden in real life amongst the pack, you'll understand how it works, is that the speed that's at the front is given to you by sitting in the draft, and then you can come through around the rider that's in front of you without a whole lot of work, and then you just put in a little bit of a dig, and it just increases and increases and increases from every rider that's in the group, because as they make their way to the front, they're carrying more speed from what they had within the pack. And so each time that happens, the pack increases its speed and then comes up on a rider that's solo, that doesn't have that kind of generation, that kind of coupling on top of each other, the speed and the power that is being generated to the front. But Vyazin here, knowing that some of these riders may be looking for some rest, he goes off the front and grabs an immediate 6 seconds now. 3.7 watts per kilogram. That's cool to see for him at the front from Vang now, because Vyazin's putting out 5.8, and that's something that's kind of cool about Zwift racing, knowing a little bit of what's happening behind you, getting that data makes it so that you can see what kind of effort you need to be putting out to hold on to your gap here. And it looks like Viasen here now has an 8-second gap. If it goes out to 10:15, this is a serious threat. And after so much racing here, we said that this may happen with the tactic from Canyon's ECC, that if he continues to put these attacks on and it whittles down enough, the other teams just won't have anything left to close it down.
No, this gap's going up and up. It's going up, 9 seconds at the moment. It was 8 seconds, just a moment to go. 10 seconds now. Nathan, do you think this could be the winning move? We've seen this happen in races before where, with half a lap to go, the riders go off fronts, get a decent break. All the riders can't decide what they want to do. This could be the moment. We know he's very good at climbing as a mountain biker, put the efforts. He's got one more climb to do. There's nice ascents down past, the cathedral. Do you think this is the moment? Is this the win that we're looking at right now?
It could be, actually. Viasen has the TT ability here. He's got the wattage. I think anybody from Canyon's ECC at the if they're really put to the test, some of them are going to have a little bit better 20-minute or a little bit better 1 hour or a little bit better sprint. But the reality is each one of these riders do have the ability to throw down a solid FTP effort for 20 minutes, for 10 minutes or so, and walk away and stay away with it. Look at this, 24 seconds 25. At this point. 25 wow. seconds. But the pack, they're going to get what this viewer actually, I absolutely love this here, and he called it out. Watch out for the momentum bomb, Ed. He called it out for Laverick there, knowing that bomb was coming on. And here comes the pack there. I think there's going to be a momentum bomb here coming down this downhill in just a moment as we hit that 70 kilometers per hour here for a moment. But it was out to 25 seconds here. I think that's going to come back to 12. Look at how quickly it gets shut down from the pack on that downhill section here. Kalman to the front here. Vang to the front here as well. This little bit of a false flat, 4% gradient now here as Vang kicks into 7.5 watts per kilogram. They taste a little bit of blood in the water for Viasen, but Canyon's ECC, they're sitting in as well, and they're ready to bite, I think, the moment that the catch is made. I think Ollie Jones, perhaps, maybe some of the Callus riders, though, Fusion ECT as well, they've been very quiet so far. I'd be watching out for any kind of counters if Viasen is caught, but the catch still needs to be made, and Viasen, he says, no, I am not giving up here, not throwing in the towel. I still have some breathing room, and you've got to take back every single meter, well, maybe up to 5 meters, because once they get that 5 meters, the gap goes away for the riders in front of him here. But 182 beats per minute, everything on the line. He is all in, I think, at this point, because if he is caught, that KOM is going to be sitting in front of him in just a moment. And look at the map in the upper right-hand corner here, everybody. You can see there's going to be a right-hand turn in just a moment. They're going to head downhill for a little while, and then it'll be the left-hand turn, that KOM again. Thinking about what's in front of him for the landscape here, 12 seconds difference. Boniface at the front pushing the pace, as you can see here, as Brett Boniface pushed 5.3, gets a little bit of a gap. I think they are anticipating that on this downhill, the momentum that's going to come on from the group should close this down. I think they still got to put in the work, though. If Viasen's willing and can put down 5 to 6 watts per kilogram on the downhill, he may be able to counteract. And if they start infighting and don't work together, as you see with Boniface here, maybe he could hang on. It's going to be difficult if anybody's sitting in that group on the KOM, if they kick into 7, 8 watts per kilogram. I'm not sure if Viasen is going to have that kind of wattage to hang on over the KOM here. It's really going to come down to, I think, a race of meters here between this attack and the rest of the pack. 20 seconds. It's enough to work with here. He's going to have to hold on to that on the downhill. Going to be very difficult, Johnny.
Yeah, no, it's gone up to 24, 25 seconds again, but we did see, just moments ago, that pack come back so incredibly fast, within moments, 10 seconds is cut down, and then we're down to 8 seconds, 6 seconds. But Lionel, he pulled it away again, just, did the exact same thing, pulled it away. So if he can maintain this up this climb, if I'm going to pick a rider, to kind of choose to win at the moment, I'm going to go for Lionel. I think he might have this here.
We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Holding on to this as he heads into the KOM. He's still got 8 watts per kilogram here. He may be able to do it here. 22 seconds. Look at the differences between, I think the difference between this last attack over the top of the climb and the reality of what the pack can pull off here may be 13 seconds, and that's exactly what he actually goes in with, because at the bottom of the climb, it was 13 seconds for this group versus Vyazin, who's throwing down 8 watts per kilogram. Look at the gap here. He needs to hold on to at least 2 to 3 seconds over the top and then have some continuance here. Laverick here, 9 watts per kilogram, your current reigning national champion for hill climbs in the UK here, 9.3, looking to close things down. Alex West, who has sat in the entirety of the race, following the wheel, not looking to chase down Lionel, but making sure he goes with anything that gets involved into another break now. Now it's also going to be Mads Bang Anderson. Now it's P. Doving here, also riding for Team Experimental. Excuse me on earlier, because Mike Davis has somebody to work with here, the sprinter. Maybe Doving's going to close things down and set Davis up. Vyazin's only got 3 seconds here. It's still quite a ways to go to the top of this KOM. There's a right-hand turn and then another kick into a 7 to 8% grade, and Vyazin maybe getting shut down. But look, it's backing off. Those crazy orange numbers now starting to take the toll on the rest of the pack here. Swarm Bay, 5.7 at the front, but it's going to be Vang sitting in as well for Callis. Callis still involved here. Pollard now dragging everybody along a little bit. Maybe a couple of people banging on their keyboard saying, get off the front here, but it's going to be Bang here, 6.5. Shuts him down. Vyazin is caught here now, and now it's going to be who's got any matches left. It's going to be a counterattack from Altadal. This is a solid time to go because everybody's put everything into this race, into the pedals here at this point to close down to Vyazin. They've shut down all the attacks here from Canyon ZCC. Altadal now in the front, pushing the pace, looking to break the rest of the pack. It's still about 100 meters to the line. He may be able to do something here and break the rest of the pack. Davis just trying to hang on. 183 beats per minute. Laverick, who really was a part of shutting this down, now is on the back foot again, it looks like here. And 185 beats per minute. That's a crazy hard heart rate. I don't think he's got much more to work with. Vyazin's on the back here as well. He's got to kick again to come through. Vyazin might be getting dropped off. That's not something we usually see. Canyon ZCC looking to support each other. Look at this. Current picture, all the purple at the back here. They're making sure all of the riders are making it into the final sprint here, supporting each other, I believe, but knowing that maybe a couple of those riders are on the back foot, it's going to be Fusion at the front, pushing the pace. Callis here now on the downhill. We've got one more little bit of a climb in the middle, one more climb, and then a downhill, and then the final climb. So there's one little kick that they're going to have to do here in just a second, heading into the sprint section, as you can see in the upper right-hand corner. And then it's going to be the final. I mean, it's really interesting because it's this little kick, and then it flattens out into a false flat to the finish line. So it's not a pure sprinter's course. That is for sure. It's somebody who's got a solid, consistent, drawn-out sprint, and I do think that's going to be the likes of Alex West.
Yeah, he's he helped really save his legs there when Lana went off the front. Right then, GC still had a free ticket up that climb, and the rest of the climb, descent, the second climb, everyone else did the work for them. We still see Lionel just sitting on the back, super aero tucking, again, he's closing the gap. I don't know what tactics could be here, as we do see again. Some riders pushing off the front. BRT pushing hard. And right now again we've got early. Lionel as well, pushing right back to the front, Nathan. He's just going to go again and again.
Yeah, as you can see, not too much response here, looks like, to that. I think that was just security. I think that's the riders just like, am I secure in this race still? Am I going to make it in this pack? Making sure they're responding. There's a difference between, full-on attacks, people trying to get away, and then just making sure that you do not lose the wheels at any moment. You can suddenly, if you don't put in those little extra security wattages, I'll call them security watts. If you do not make sure you're following those wheels as closely as possible, you can quickly find yourself off the back. And at 170 beats per minute here for Vang, these are situations where you got to make sure you do not lose a wheel, because it could be said and done very quickly, especially after we're seeing here 40 kilometers of absolute bonkers racing up in that 4 or 5 plus watts per kilogram. I mean, this has been really some of the craziest over-under racing we've ever seen, as far as going over your threshold, really pushing yourself to your limits here. As they head through the sprint section, Laverick actually throws down and grabs a solid 3 seconds here. Everybody's kind of looking at each other. Interesting to see here. Callis not responding here. Nobody's doing anything about this. Laverick's off the front, 2.9, 3.4 watts per kilogram, but he's up into 181 already. He might not have much more to work with for energy here. Now we are seeing Kalman here sitting in 2.9. Palad's making the chase here, really probably frustrating a few of the riders now. Laverick now 6 watts per kilogram, 180 beats per minute. As you can see, it's all going to come down to that final kick over the top. He's got to grab 10 plus seconds. if this is even going to matter, though, as they head into that final climb here, Johnny.
Yeah, no, 3 seconds gap. Don't think it's quite enough. The only way I think you can maybe get this is if he just goes for lets him get quite close, and maybe if he kicks again, because he's got that, those legs for the climbing, he might get it. But the pack's gonna bring him back. I think it's all done now. I think Ed, save himself, try and get that last bit of attack up the final climb. These guys have whittled down. It's amazing to see from first pack of like over 40 riders. Were this time on the first lap. We're down to it's like 12 riders now in the rest of the race. It's sort of all over for everyone else. I think we're just gonna have to look and see who could be that one. What do you think, Nathan? Do you think an early break? Do you think it's gonna be a bunch of sprints up the climb?
A lot of times on this course specifically, I've seen people try and go all in on that little bit of a climb before the 300 or 200 meter marker for that finish banner. It's a risk to take. I haven't seen too many able to hold on to the gap that they do create there. We do see an attack here coming from, it looks like, Laverick again. I do not think Laverick wants an all-out sprint here. I think he wants to break everybody. And this is a tactic that could work, but he has to keep burning matches. He has to make sure that he does not let the rest of the riders rest too much. The moment that he gets anything back in the legs, he has to kick again and put every one of these riders into the red. And if he does that, it may pay off for him as he backs off to 2.2 watts per kilogram. I think that is what his tactic is going to be here. It's going to be a right-hand turn and then a left-hand turn in just a moment here, and then they're going to head on into that 90-degree turn into the little bit of a kick. But again, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a couple of riders try and get away on this climb, and then they're going to get shut down by the pack coming back together for just a moment, and then the last 200-meter kick, a lot of times is what happens here. I think some of these riders are smart enough. We may see an upset here from Davis. Davis sitting at 168 beats per minute here. Trzynski, Team Poland is still involved here. They're getting the lead out from Pallet, as you can see here. Kalman again here. I'm going to make a prediction. It's going to be Alex West, I think, but it's going to be close. I think it's going to come right to the line as it has been in every one of these Fusion ECT races so far. Vang here toward the front. We are seeing it looks like off the down now for it looks like for Callis now. Now off the down sitting at the front here. Alex West now looking to take over. West now backing off. We said that kick was not going to be where it was won. Somebody would give it a try, but it did not happen. Now they're coming into the last 100 meters or so here. Bang, 5.1 now. Davis looking to go 11 watts per kilogram. He's got a gap. Can he hang on to it? He's one of the pure sprinters here, but he's making a long drown-out sprint. Vyasen looking to close it down. 14 watts per kilogram coming from Lionel Vyasen. He's got the speed, it looks like. Will Lionel pull it off? We haven't seen a win from Lionel in weeks now, and he's got the gap. It looks like Lionel Vyasen may have it today. It's going to come right to the line, though. He's being chased down, and he takes it here. Soren Bay, it looks like, for second there. And I believe Oftedal, Alex West and the others here maybe put on the back foot from all the attacks from Laverick there today, but Vyasen's on fire today. Absolutely killing it. Looks like he opened up his legs in a CX race this weekend. He was posting on social media about, having some struggles about this weekend in a CX race and looking to maybe come back in the Zwift racing here. Amazing result there for the likes of Lionel Vyasen. We'll get our results up here in just a moment, but solid effort here from Canyon ZCC. And Lionel Vyasen, interesting to see with this result, I would also give him most aggressive rider on the day also taking the win.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think the team played it well. I don't know if might not have been the way they planned it out though. Because Alex was going for it and then he stopped. It was because the climb went a bit flatter and he just couldn't get the watts down. But all that time that climb, Lionel was head to head with Alex. And then maybe Alex dropped something and then Lionel went for it. But I think the call that the call he made early on that he might be the guy to do it on the climbs. Didn't expect it after all those attacks. Thought he was gone at when we came up the KOM. Didn't expect him to kind of get back on and still have the power to put down.
100%. And looking at the results here, that was definitely interesting to see that he was able to come back after all those attacks here, showing that maybe it's not always rested up in the pack that makes it happen. Lionel Vyasen first place, grabs it by 0.2 of a second over Soren Bay. He definitely had well over a bike length, it looked like. Mike Davis, after the lead out, able to hold on. He almost won it there with, he had a solid, it looked like 50 meters over the rest of the pack at one moment. Unable to hang on as Vyasen came across there. Alex West sat in on the wheels, it looks like, along with Ollie Jones, neck and neck for 4th and 5th place. Per Johnny Dovin there for Team Experimental coming in as well, 6th place. And then it's Christian Oftedal for Callis, followed by Mads Bang Anderson for Fusion ECT, and Nigel Clark for BRT, and Alexa Kalman coming through in 10th place. Solid results there for the A category. We can see if we can grab the replay for everybody here real quick, as it was an amazing result, and let's take a look at how it played out. There's the attack there coming from Mike Davis very early on. Now we do see Viasen there coming on through with 14 watts per kilogram. Velo and Cycling backing off the 7.4. It looks like he had to throw in the towel with those orange numbers coming from Alex West, looking to close things down. Alex jumps onto Davis's wheel. Oh, not quite at this point though, but Lionel coming over the top. Look behind here. Lionel takes the win. And it was Soren Bay, actually, who came over the top of the rest of the Canyon ZCC riders. Just had more of a kick. And it goes to show where the high 12, 13 watts per kilogram really pays off with those speed increases. I think there's a certain moment at which, at certain watts at which the speeds just really, really increase out there amongst the riders. Let's go ahead and jump in, though. We'd like to make sure that we follow along with all of the races out on course. And I do believe we do have the B category here making their finish here in just a second, as we do have, it looks like, the likes of Swart Vrager here coming out of Belgium. Making his way to the line in this B category. Sakuma there as well, coming out of Japan, 1.0 watts per kilogram, as you can see. And then it's going to be Kay Kroll from Fusion Dev and Neeston there as well. They're about to finish up their final couple kilometers. As they do so, let's take a quick look over at the social interaction here. We're seeing DT saying nearly pulled off the upset there. Nice one to Davis. And Mike Davis, I thought it was going to be happening. Dovin says, great sprint to Mike Davis as well, cheering on his teammate. Always good to see the teams out there. And that's one thing, Johnny, I think that, those who are new to Zwift racing and, the reality of what kind of a community that we do have going on here, not always familiar, a lot of times from your living room and from the Zwift experience, I think some people who are newer to it are like, oh, I'm just a solo rider out here amongst a whole bunch of riders. But there is a definite, well-organized team structures and community out there that hammer away week in and week out looking for these results. I think I lost Johnny. Maybe I lost Johnny? Johnny Noblet? I think looking through.
Hello, sorry, I'm back there. Slight technical issue. Yeah, no, the community is great. It was teams were formed so early in Zwift. You mentioned kind of like Joe said, Team Experimental, one of the earliest teams out there that really kind of took racing seriously. And probably actually the first team that really took racing seriously. They're always out there for the win, trying to get the best riders. It used to be quite secretive with what their tactics were. They got that that kind of alien jersey, which kind of makes them all look a little bit a little bit more secretive as well. But then, we started to see like other teams come out. Like we had, BRT, we had Kiss Racing, and then suddenly, from what used to be just 5 or 6 teams, in the racing scene before those event modules, like suddenly, we've got hundreds of teams now on Zwift. It's, ridiculous. Loads of riders all join teams, a lot of them racing these like top class races, trying to really kind of, represent their teams, and kind of really try and grow the sport of Zwift racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really come a long ways. We've been doing, I think, this with ZCL. We've been at this for over 2.5 years at this point. Early on with the, and then before that, there's so many. Something else I want to definitely highlight as the B category looks to finish up here is how many people that are out there streaming as well. You can see the first-person perspective of a lot of these, especially the A category riders. Really cool to see how many are out there taking on the world of streaming. Just like you do see in the usual esports there, a lot of times. And this, you could almost compare this to some of the situations where we see these tournaments going on online. You can see all of the perspectives of not all of, but a lot of the perspectives of the participants on any of those streaming platforms when those tournaments are going on online, and a lot of the big first-person shooters and other online games here. We did see Kroll here with an attack here in this B category, looking to try and get away, but was unable to happen with Christensen here from Fusion Dev looking to come over the top here. but it's going to be Christensen still leading it out. 9.7 watts per kilogram. Hughes looking to come across, though, it looks like, as they come in the finish line for this B category. Bowen, the winner last week out on New York. Ned Bowen showing he's got 12 watts per kilogram. Will he be able to hang on, though? Fusion Dev looking to challenge. It looks like Fusion Dev maybe with Larson at the line. We'll have to wait for the official results as it comes through. What a great sprint there coming from Bowen. Bowen last week threw down for a solid result and grabbed it at the line on the New York course. And did he take it down again here? I have to wait to see it. Bowen looks like he's absolutely spent immediately. Goes to 0 watts per kilogram. And interesting to see as now just forget it, logs out. I'm done. He says I'm done. And it looks like it is going to be, I believe, Bowen just barely. Look at this. I believe it loads in here. Just barely able to nip it at the line there by 4/100ths of a second there, almost 5/100ths a second. But Ned Bowen there, Flesha. Fusion Dev followed up by with Larson and then Mogensen. It's going to be James Rhodes followed up by Tulipion Radiator for team dropouts. Am I saying that? How would you pronounce that there, Johnny?
God, I'm not sure.
No swearing. No swearing.
I'm too worried about butchering it. I think I'll just leave with your attempt and say that's the best one so far.
Sounds good. Nikolai Christensen followed up by Matthew Hughes. This will be Sebastian Retzlaff for Innovation. Kevin Blades for Vixen Fox. And it's going to be Kim Gatterman there for Fusion Dev. Fusion Dev really taking over the results here for that B category. 1, 2, 3, 4. But Flesha, again, Ned Bowen, I think, might end up being your current series leader after taking 2 in a row now. So last one we're going to be covering now. The D category has been pretty quiet. So we've been a little bit quieter on the coverage of that category to the finish line. But there's been some serious battles heating up in this C category here. And it's been really interesting to watch as the C category with Charlie Ryan and Jamie Blythe from the NTR team here. I'm going to go ahead and bring that feed in. And looking through for this category, it does look like Charlie Ryan and Jamie Blythe are starting to bring their way to the line here. It looks like we got a little bit of a stutter step here for a second in our feed. We'll see if we can take care of that in just a moment. But Charlie Ryan now, Jamie Blythe 10th and 9th place currently. Toward the front end of this, Peterson now, it looks like, sitting in 4th place, followed up by Dare Bikes there, as well as Kate Knoll sitting in 3rd. M Pie there as well with Truman at 4-4. So I think a few of these riders, as we said earlier, this rider, he's obviously demolishing himself. He's got 193 beats per minute here currently. Working very hard. We don't want to take anything away from the effort. But on Z Power and then at 4.4 watts per kilogram or so over category limits, we're probably seeing the same here for Mpai, K. Noel, as well as Peterson. So in these C categories, a lot of times we have riders just jumping in, looking to get involved in a race, and not sure, there's a reality that there's a lot of, Johnny, you want to speak to that? I mean, there's a reality that there's a lot of new riders, right? Like we're talking about breaking records this year for how many racers and riders riders we'll see out on Zwift by January or February. And some of our predictions on Zwiftcast, we're pushing 20,000 plus, right? If you are infusing thousands upon thousands of new people to the platform, they might just open up the Zwift app and be like, hey, there's a race and I don't know, A, B, C, and just join something. There's that reality there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Amount of new people riding every day on Zwift. New people, but also kind of concurrently riding every day is, it's kind of is blowing up every, as we go into the winter, and doing some of these races is a really good way to kind of get your effort down quickly. A lot of people are limited to just like an hour. They maybe kind of just put the kids down, and then they want to kind of go and get some exercise before chilling out for the rest of the evening. So doing a race, it's one of the best ways, to kind of, get that effort in, quickly, put down some sweats, get some drops, great way to do it. There's also, the workouts, are great, but, racing, going against someone, getting a bit of anger out of you. Yeah, I think it's a great way to kind of, get into Zwift.
And look, you get a little anger out, not put a little bit of anger in, and that's what we're talking about here, is that there's just a reality. And that's why we do have ZwiftPower.com and the race organizers making sure that the results are what they need to be. I am looking over at zwiftpower.com for the averages for the C category. It does look like some of these riders that are off the front here with Steve Rittering, as well as Michael Kesby, Bartek Kadratowicz coming for Team Poland. They're all within the category limits still here, actually. So these riders here still looking to break away from Charlie Ryan and Jamie Blythe. They're putting in a solid effort, but maybe this course a little bit too much here at this point for the likes of Ryan and Blythe to hang on to this front end. I do believe they have some solid sprints and are do very well on the flatter courses, but this course here today maybe a little bit too much for them to take down the win. Working well together though, as you can see, and but it does look like they may be ending up in about, I'm going to put in a guess after the results do come in, around 5th, 6th place here. Once they do come across the finish line, as I do believe a few of these riders toward the front here with Kesby and some of the others, rig terrain specifically, who does have a looks like 36-second gap over Kesby, is within the category limits at 3.2 watts per kilogram. This will be the official leader, I think. This is unofficial from my guesses from zwiftpower.com, but 2.3 watts per kilogram coming out of the Netherlands here with about kilometer and a half to go to the finish line. They'll be coming through the sprint section here in just a moment. These are long days for this C category here, Johnny. I mean, they're out here for 3 laps on one of the hardest courses. We're looking at an hour and 5 minutes. You're saying get a little bit of a sweat in after a long day here on a Tuesday. This looks like a lot of sweat in going on at over an hour for a C category race.
No, I don't think it's the sweating that's the issue. I think it's like upsetting your partner who you're told, you'll be able to get the food on, after an hour, because you're just going for an hour's race, But at least they're going to earn it after putting in that much effort, for over an hour. It's it's a good way to get you. It's a good way to kind of get your exercise, But it's hard, especially going against other people. It's it's tough because you almost can't control yourself of just putting in the effort because you always want to chase that wheel that's in front of you.
Yeah, for sure. And we are seeing it does look like McDonald here in the B category looking to finish up in just a moment. I'm gonna jump in with the B category feed for just a second here, actually, as he battles it out. Actually, this is as we're waiting for the C's to finish it up here. It's interesting to see McDonald here with Eric Schlang, actually, from Zwift Insider, as they come into their final little bit of a sprint. So this is kind of fun to see some of the well-known people out into the world of Zwift, especially with Schlang here from Zwift Insider writing up. We did give him a shout out last week. Again, always like to see him in the races that we do cover. We'll say it again. If you are looking for insider information, specifically, especially around racing and riding dynamics with speed recently, Zwift Insider's done some amazing articles recently, Johnny. We've got all of the wheels and their comparisons for the times that they do on certain courses. Not only did they do just one course, they did courses that were either climbing courses versus that flatter courses, because there's such a big change in aerodynamics versus weight, actually. Just like in real life, where you're not going to use a full disc on a climb, right? Because it's heavier, but maybe in a flat or TT course, you're going to use a full disc wheel for your TT bike. So Zwift Insider did some amazing write-ups on that. Go check out those articles if you want to see what the fastest bikes are. And specifically, we're talking about drops, Johnny, where you want to spend your drops.
Yeah, no, definitely. Zwift Insider, I remember, kind of early days when the first tests came out on like Richmond Flat and on Watopia Hilly, like going into a race and trying to choose your kits, absolutely great resource, kind of tying up between should I go for the Madone with these wheels, or should I go for the F8, which you get on the Italian Challenge. Like you kind of really have to kind of play it up, and it's it's great, and some of these decisions they can make, kind of the race, the results, if someone doesn't choose the right, wheels, which I think they are, maybe testing that course yet and they haven't got the right information, it can make a big change in the race outcome.
Yeah, it definitely can here. And as you can see, as far as the selection here comes from Eric now, interesting to see. It looks like Schlang here has decided to go with, and this is one of the most informed riders here on this stuff, the S-Works here with the Mellenstein wheels. Doesn't look like that's going to be able to match the waters no matter what kind of bike he's throwing down here, because 11 watts per kilogram with a solid jump from McDonald. Going to be taking him down for 49th place. Zwift Insider, Schlang throwing in the towel. But solid result there still as he comes through for 50th on the day. Let's go ahead and jump back in with Rigtorin, though, as he's finishing up his race. This is the virtual leader in the C category right now, as you can see, coming out of the Netherlands. And Kesby there from DCR out of Denmark trying to chase him down 17, 18 seconds behind. Jamie Blythe there has dropped off his teammate, it looks like. Charlie Ryan said, no, we've worked well together so far, but the chop is taking place now at this point. And this is looking for a little bit of a look forward to the reality of Thursday, as these riders worked together till this point, and now the gloves are coming off, and as they head toward the finish line here, Chop Racing coming at us on Thursday, Johnny.
Yeah, Chop Racing, great, way for everyone in the community who's, whether you experienced before, whether, it's your first time. It's a great way to kind of get into, putting out efforts, with the D riders going out first and the handicap, they go out first and just these rides, best as they can as a group, it's almost like, an enhanced group ride, but they just don't let the group or the B group or the A group catch up to them. And, last week, it's great proof that this works. And when in the women's race, the C category, kept away from everyone else, they took on the Ds and they kind of got over to the win on that one. And then in the open race for both men and women, it was actually the B category one that kind of kept all those A races away who had a bit of a delay starting after them. So yeah, definitely, if someone's new watching this, but it feels a bit intimidated by this type of racing, it's kind of scratch racing and wants to get into something that's a bit more welcoming, definitely try the Chop race. It's an absolutely amazing race, whether you're new or old to Zwift.
Yeah, Chop Racing's where it's at on Thursdays. And what's fun is that a lot of these races that we're seeing at the top end of the A category, they're jumping into those Thursday night races and challenging those lower categories. So it was cool to see out on the TikTok course for the A category trying to chase down the Bs, but the Bs able to take it down. And then for the women's only race out on the Volcano circuit, it was great to see how the C and the B category battled it out right to the line. It'll be interesting to see how things play out on Thursday. With maybe some changes up in courses. Each time the courses definitely change up who's going to have an advantage and how the categories need to work together. The organizers always looking to make it as close of a race as possible, so everybody has to put out their best possible effort, and that's what's great also about Chop Racing is because everybody's at such a close ability level. It definitely forces everybody to throw down everything they can for the category. Now, Riggertine looks like here coming across the line for first place, according to ZwiftPower.com, within category limits. I did see a couple of people saying that no, maybe somebody else took the win there though, but I do believe it was going to be the Riggertine here that was within category limits. I'm going to see if I can jump back in with Blythe here, as there was a little bit of an interesting battle that was going on there behind for those riders, but it looks like we've lost that feed here for now. We'll just go ahead and jump in with the results. As the C category, we're waiting for them to load up here, and I believe they'll be with us here in just a second as we're looking at Pallard here, getting a cooldown, it looks like here. Now, these are preliminary results here. It says Gamza did take the win. I think he may have been a little bit over the limits, but we'll have to wait and see after the Fusion ECT race organizers go through and update the results. Again, these are community races. For those of you that's were here on Zwift Community Live, they are organized by the community, they're run by the community, and all the results are policed by the community. Gamza, though, it looks like for now at the front here, Riggertine here at 3 seconds back, looks 3:32 back, excuse me. Michael Kesby there for third place. Jamie Blythe and Charlie Ryan battling it out, the NTR team. We'll go ahead and reload, see if we can get another few more of the riders here into this page here for the results momentarily. Looks like that's what we're going to get, though, for the top 5. All right, Johnny, looks like you got a new esports setup there. I'm almost tempted to show everybody your new streaming setup. Where can we find the Johnny streaming? I hear Johnny's streaming Fortnite lately.
Yeah, I keep that hidden away because, not too good at it. Just a little bit of research, a little bit of messing around. Research! So, yeah,
we're calling it research. We're calling it research now. Okay, so yeah. I do lots of research too. Over on a Go Garrett channel, there's some. I'm going to go do some research on Zwift here in just a second. I need to get my ride in and then play some Apex maybe all night and get my research done, Johnny.
Yeah, it's important. We got to do a bit of research. A bit of research in the evenings. Where we should be doing maybe more important stuff. But no, it's looking good, Nathan. So let's chat. When are we going to be next on? When's the next race on this with Community Live going to be happening? When's the next Swift race?
Yeah, we're looking at next up is obviously going to be the chop racing on Thursday. We're going to be live. I believe it is 7 p.m. GMT, if I'm not incorrect there, and 7:45 with the open race. So women's only 7 p.m. and that is 1 p.m. Central Time here in the U.S. and then 1:45 or 7:45 p.m. GMT for the open mixed race. There's also a race specifically that's the European race. Now that's what's going to be broadcast, and then there's also the North American race that is not broadcast. It's going on for chop racing as well. So make sure to be watching out for those. Those are some of the priority events that are going on out there. Johnny, great racing out there as always. Thanks a lot for joining me. It's been great to have you here on the broadcast.
No, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, great. Johnny, we'll see you maybe on Thursday as well. But as well, until then, until Thursday, guys, we'll great job to all the riders out there as always. Always great to see all of the efforts that all you guys are putting on. Absolutely love commentating it as usual. And as always, ride on.